All right. What is up?
Yeah.
Welcome to Manning the Grill, episode 17. Gotta start with a laugh, right?
17.
Right. How you guys doing?
Good, man. It's good to see your face.
Fantastic.
All right. Put the bacon away. Put the vapes away. We are now live.
Bacon is consumed.
Right?
Yeah.
You guys both at Allie's house?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to get this on. I want to introduce everyone. Welcome to Man the Grill, episode 17. Let's get real in real estate. Sponsored by Dream Lane Real Estate, Remax Preferred. The two beautiful people you see on the other side of the screen are Alejandra Torres and Colin McMullen, two of my favorite humans on earth. And the theme that we're going to kind of go around here is that they were the first two people I met, besides Jenny Swain. They were the first two people I met in this business when I jumped to it, 6 years ago or 5 years ago, whatever it ends up being. And today's episode is just going to be about real estate, but I'd love to have a little undertone of how my favorite part about real estate sales is that you're competing, and then when you aren't competing, you're cooperating. And I think that's a unique part about any kind of sales business is, often I've worked, especially in Verona, right? I've worked to earn a listing, lost it to some other agent, then I'm like, hey, let me bring you a buyer kind of thing, right? And I hold you guys in particular high regard and gratitude, especially Allie, because you spent a ton of time, even Colin too, because at that time at Keller, you were in that kind of teaching role, right? Getting people set up and God, the back end of not command, but whatever they had back then, getting your face set up and your emails and the app.
Yeah.
Remember how much of a pain in the butt it was to get that app link down and sent out and shared. And like I say, when I started at the time, give you a little reference, I had 2 mortgage payments, 2 kids, and I quit a job. I was making 6 figures. How do I make this work, right? And Allie was so patient and giving me all the scripts and encouraging me and sharing open houses. God, those first open house stories were some of my favorite.
She's the open house queen.
Right?
Yeah.
That's the open house king, because I learned from the best, right? That was
I always used to look at her and be like, how do you get all this business from open houses? She's like, you just got to open up. And I'm like, I am an open person, but whatever.
It's different. Yeah, when Allie's there, it's different.
Teach their own.
We all have our, our strengths.
So that's a great starting point. I don't have it, but I'm going to share it later. I didn't take it from my other computer, but do you remember at the Overture, we did a photo shoot with Jenny's team. And, Jenny went from Jenny Swain to a team of 3 in a second. And we did that photo shoot. Do you guys remember that photo shoot?
It was so fun.
Yeah, I very much so.
I that photo because it's hilarious. Because I look at that picture and I was like, I remember Miranda just hating everyone. And Jenny, why do I do with my hands? And my kid's literally tearing up, running all over the place. I think Miles urinated somewhere on the program.
I think Miranda flew from Georgia to Madison for the photo shoot. Or maybe she was here for something else. I don't recall. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure Miles lost a shoe.
Yep. Lost a shoe. All that took time. Then we had to go to the bathroom and Jenny, what do I do with my hand? You just let him hang there. I don't like that. It's just all that stuff, right?
And it was so fun with our multicultural team, and Jenny in the middle.
Hey, that's exactly. Jenny was in the middle, right? Jenny in the middle. That's a song, I think.
That was a single stuffed Oreo.
Right. But I love that photo because we're all still producing, all different, right? I think obviously Miranda and Jenny worked together, but we all went our different ways. Again, back to that cooperation thing, right? Last year I called Colin on one of Mark Gladhue's listings. Actually, tell those guys, I want you to introduce real quick, tell them where you work. I want to make sure you get a chance to properly promote your brokerage.
We work at Lauer Realty Group, and it is amazing. We're a family dominating on the east side, primarily Atwood neighborhood.
And west side, right? At that beautiful west side office with the cool mural, right?
Yeah.
We just opened that about 2 months ago. It completed construction, so we're getting all set up to pretty much open shop or have shop set up on both sides of town now. So it's super exciting. It's like a little family, operates kind of like a team, but kind of like like an individual brokerage on its own. So it's awesome. It's like a little family.
And we are all tired. This market is kicking our butts.
Right. So going into that, that's kind of what I want to talk about. Let's just, from a real estate perspective, I have no legit stats, but I have some things. There's a Mary Duff listing that was on the east side, and I forgot to text her quick to see if I could get exactly how many offers were finally on it. But I think the address was 4806. I can look it up. It's right there where 94 and 90 come together, that little corner. It's town of Burke, Sun Prairie Schools. It was on an acre. It was a shabby property at best, and that's being generous, the term shabby, but it had 105 showings.
That's surprising.
I think that's a record. And all of a sudden I started wanting to keep track of that, right? What's the craziest thing you guys are showing wise with your listings so far in this crazy market?
Man, it's, basically what you have to do right now is send over a blank offer. Here, Mr. or Mrs. Seller, just put whatever you want. Well, yep, we'll do it. Cash, no contingencies. You want to stay 2 months for free after closing? Sure. You want a child? Sure. You want a kidney? Sure.
Actually, on that note, let me share something with you. Have you guys seen the Holderness family?
The what family?
Holderness?
No.
Mm-mm.
All right, listen to this.
Meeting on such short notice. As
Here.
your realtor, I am always here for you. We've been thinking about a move after
Here.
staring at the same walls for a year. I saw a house that went on the market down the street. I think we want to take a look at it. Cool. The seller wants all the offers by 3 p.m. today. Are you sure? That's in 20 minutes. Plenty of time. I don't know if I can buy a house I've never been inside. Let's see. Okay. I can get you a 4-minute virtual showing starting in the next. A virtual showing? Yeah. Sellers don't really need people in their houses anymore. Oh, because of COVID. That's it. It's a lot of money for just seeing a couple exterior photos and a floor plan. Wow. I know, right? No, did you say floor plan? Yeah. That's really generous of them to include a floor plan. Generous. I'd be so grateful. Okay, a lot of sellers are accepting over asking. Over asking, what is that? Bidding above the sale price. We used to bid like 50 grand below the sale price. Oh, those days are long gone. So what are you comfortable with? Maybe 5,000 over asking? More. 7? What, 10? Is it the best we can do? But I haven't even seen it. You know what? My friend is the listing agent. Let me call him and feel him out. Okay, cool. Thanks. Hey. Yeah, I'm so sorry to bother you with another interested buyer. I just need to do the price they're thinking. I know. I'm so sorry. I know.
She's not making time.
Lowest is 50,000 over asking. $50,000? Are you kidding me? He did say this is an emotional move for them, so maybe a letter could help you. A letter. Just like a little love note about how much you love their home and how honored you'd be if they chose you. I have to write a cover letter for a house. Like a poem or a haiku, or get your husband to write a parody for them. So a song to the house? Yes, like we want to buy your house. But you know what? You can't say anything your background or your life or anything too personal, but make it really creative and tug at them emotionally. I'm so confused right now. Okay, I've got all the additional terms. Lay it on me. Nothing's going to surprise me right now. You pay for all the closing costs. No, they take all the appliances. What? And the light fixtures. That's interesting. And the hardwoods. They're reclaimed, so they're just reclaiming them. You just have to agree to pay for their move across town. Their move across town? No, this is insane. Or the first semester of their daughter's college tuition. Your choice. This is honestly nuts.
Whichever comes
first. Oh, they also want your dog. How do they know we have a dog? No thinking, just buying. We thought we'd take the weekend and just like shop around. Oh, if you could move out by Thursday, I have an all cash offer for your house. Wait, what? My house? Are you good with this? There is no way. Oh. No. Backed up right now. Really? Oh, look. A new listing. That is on the highway, but it has lights and floors. And appliances. We can negotiate. Nope. No, we can't. Missed it. It's gone. God. The buyers are giving them a boat and a pony. A pony? That house is literally sitting on top of the highway. I know, we missed a good one. And scene. We love our realtor.
So you get it. That's just kind of.
Oh, dude, it's
I mean, we've all heard it. I think by this point, there was an agent in our office who said that she encountered somebody who offered, what was it, a year subscription to some like dog, like what was it, like to get like dog food delivered or something.
yeah, like those monthly packages.
Those like a monthly subscription for like, yeah.
Hello. Oh, I think I lost.
Miss Lane, there you go. An agent in my office just, I think 2 days ago, got 100 grand over. I mean, it's insane.
Wow.
Yeah, we've had. It's not uncommon. It's not uncommon where you just. I mean, most listings get anywhere from 60 to 80 showings, in the span of 3 to 4 days, and I think the real disservice that's going on is when listings are underpriced a little bit below the market, because it's hell for those agents who are doing it to themselves that wind up. I mean, there was one on the east side over here this past week that had like 58 offers or something. Yeah, something like that. It's just.
How are you guys managing that? Like I had, that's another thing. Like I had 8 listings last year. This time I only got 2 this year, right? So I'm kind of struggling in that space. And I find myself going out farther, but the 2 listings I had 10 plus offers. How did you guys manage it and show your customers? How do they keep you guys kind of managing and show your customers?
I mean, I just feel like it's easy on the listing side. Not necessarily to get them, but once you've got them, it's like it doesn't take a whole lot to get them sold. You know what I mean? It almost feels like you're robbing people.
Right. So like, oh boy, another one. Oh boy. How do you organize it? Like to show, how do you have that conversation with a seller when they're trying to look at all these, so I wrote one day, Tucci had 28 offers. I was one of the final 3 of 28 offers. I'm like, how do you even talk to someone about that? Right. What is your elimination process? Do you talk to the customer, seller, and say, hey, want to eliminate 10% down, 5% down, or how do you generally have the conversation to break it down?
I mean, we have to present every offer, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like part of it is at least getting it in front of them and sending it to them, making sure that they have eyes on it, and basically just saying, based on what we're seeing, this batch is basically, it can't compete. So we can just set these aside. Sure, and then you really sit down and have a conversation about the top, 3 or 4. Yeah. I mean, I had an experience last week where I called Alejandra afterwards and I was like, I just had my first like Bravo made for TV negotiation moment, because I walked out of the house, offers due in an hour from our showing. The agent was standing out in the front yard, ready to walk in the house, present offers to the seller. And I stood out in the front yard, talked to my buyer, said, what can you do? How much can you offer? They wanted to make an offer. I walked in face to face, negotiated it, and said, hey, this is what they're able and willing to do. Is it enough? She just shook her head and was like, nope, not enough. So I was like, all right, have a good day. We're going to the next show.
I literally like that in the video when she's like, yeah, the lowest offer of 72 is 50.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, no, she just shook her head and said, yeah, that's not going to do it. And I was like, all right, cool. We'll go to the next. What is great is we actually went to the next showing, and that only had 1 offer on it. It had been on the market for 8 days. Surprisingly, it's a really quirky house. And this was the 12th offer that these buyers had offered on, and they actually ended up getting it. So I was super happy for them. Yeah.
And they're going to be happy with it. And generally, you guys know as I do, the next house is generally the best one anyway, right? The one after you lose is usually the best one. But
yeah, hopefully they don't have an inspection, so we'll see after they close.
Right. So I did that 45 over, asking on it wasn't a quirky house, it was just in a quirky location, sight unseen, appraisal protection, the whole 9. And they took it.
Was it the one by the Beltline?
No, it was in some prairie.
Okay.
And I'm giggling because that agent, when I was so to your point, Colin, one of the things I want to talk about, and it kind of speaks back to our relationship as agents, right? Not just with you guys, but one of the things you hire a real estate agent for, and I want to hear this, is you hire real estate agents because they know other real estate agents, right? They can cut through the shit and get to the gist of the matter. So I called the agent, hey, where are you at? Looks like a great property from photos. How many offers you got coming, et cetera, et cetera. You know the conversation. I got this many. And he point blank said, I have an email and I keep it. I wouldn't bother because I got one that's just crazy. I was like, no, let me go through the motions. Let me do it to you. Gave him an offer. Guess what he did? He called back and said, wow, you're as crazy as they are, or your buyers are as crazy as they are. I'm like, well, that's why I go through the move, right? So what's it gonna take? And we offered another couple grand, and boom, we had it, sight unseen. And like you said, that tension from that month going through the process, no inspections, no well and septic nothing. Just basically once it's done, then you got to wait 30 days for it to close, right?
Yeah.
And he gave us a walkthrough, and it was the most amazing feeling in the world when you walked in. You're like, oh my god, this is awesome. And here's the best part: we walked through, everyone was happy, all this great space, all this quirkiness, good quirkiness. They wanted space from Turkistan, wanted a space for his mother to live down the road, but they don't need it right now. But that's there. Long story short, the best part was walking through that with them and their happiness. And then the second best part was when it appraised over. So to your point about agents pricing it under market.
Yeah, that's great. So for your viewers out there that don't know what sight unseen means, that means when you're writing an offer without seeing the home, like your video you showed, and you write an offer on a house you've never seen before, and then you have, a certain amount of time to go see it in person and proceed. And it's crazy,
I mean,
offers this year?
I've written one. I mean, I think, with the way technology is, I think it's great. Photos do a really good job nowadays compared to 20 years ago. Virtual tours are great, but we've all been in houses with clients where they're like, wow, this room seems smaller than the photos, or this is a lot dirtier in person. Photos hide dirt, and you just, you only get so much out of what you're able to see on a screen. So sight unseen offers make me so nervous
nervous. And it makes the buyers nervous too,
Right. Yeah.
I'm a little concerned about, 5 to 8 years from now when we start seeing all these houses that had no inspection contingencies start selling. I'm concerned about that. We're all gonna have to remember, this era where buyers are just doing whatever it takes to get a house.
So that brings up another great point I had on my list of things to talk about: appraisals. Again, I've written, I'm going to say 5 or 6 offers that got accepted that were over asking price and had appraisal protection in there. So they were buying the house regardless, right? So boom, done, but they all appraised out. I haven't had one appraisal issue this year as a buyer.
Wow.
And the vast majority of all the offers have been over asking, right? Of some degree. I haven't had an appraisal come back incorrect. That's what I'm worried about in the next 3, 4, 5 years. What happens if the market changes or corrects, et cetera, et cetera? And they got this.
I mean, I think Madison's economy is strong, and I think the housing market here is pretty strong. I worry about the same. I think there are a few houses out there where it's like, wow, you just, this $500,000 house you just spent $620 on. Like, if you go to sell that in 3 years, are you really gonna walk away with any proceeds from it? Possibly not. Who knows? But
or possibly, most it could happen, right? Prove me wrong. Those little memes. Prove me wrong. Yeah, I'll do it. Prove me wrong. Right?
Definitely. I mean, we were talking about it the other day. Like the average home price when we all got into the business.
Do you remember it was like
230,000 5 years ago, somewhere around there, and now it's risen to 330.
Yeah.
The average home sale price in the city of Madison, which is just. It's mind blowing to think that it's gone up 100,000 in 5-6 years.
Right. Well, that's what I was telling my wife. We bought our house. If you guys remember, it was that cat pee house.
I do have a story about a cat, so we'll get to that. But go ahead.
All that stuff, and I bought it in the end of July because I got sick of losing out on properties, and it wasn't 10, 12 offers. It was 2, 3, 4 at that time, right? And we were just too far away. I couldn't get my wife to get over at the same time. So anyway, I just bought a house. I bought the crappiest house on a decent block, but it was nasty. We made out like bandits when we sold it last year. But that was 7 years ago. We've lived here 7 years. That was 7 years ago. We were still competing, and it's only gradually gotten worse. So maybe my concerns about appraisals are moot. Your concerns about buying the $500,000 house for $625 or $625K are moot. Because they're still building, Viridian's still building and I just got a Viridian accepted. And 2 weeks prior, the same exact house next door sold for $11,500 less. So, and both of them had lines of people. I love we had a little bit of advantage over those sellers. So No time to invest.
I think for me, this like the scary thing to follow is if you actually look year over year from the last like 3 years, like let's say you just take the month of May 2019, the number of listings that came on the market, you compare that to 2020 in May and now 2021, like year over year, the last 5 years, the number of listings month over month continue to go down. And if you look at new home construction over the last 20 years, like every year, the number of new homes built, it goes down. So it's like there's still going to be a need for housing, and there's always going to be buyers, people moving in and out of the city. I mean, the city's growing, so
it's always top 10 places to live.
Yeah,
like, consistently.
It's scary to think about that stat that just fewer and fewer listings come on the market year over year. Fewer and fewer houses are being built. It's like, where are people going to go? You know,
because money's cheap, and we get more buyers. So the two stats you mentioned are, conflicted by the amount of buyers we keep adding to the market every year, especially at lower price points.
It just speaks to what exactly is happening right now and how does it correct? You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. What so you guys aside, I know we were just talking about this. One of the things I learned from Allie is how to be the open house king. Allie is an open house. What are you doing to get business without open houses, or are you guys doing open houses? We kind of it was a team or individual thing, right? Some people just locked them down. Some people still had them. At this point in time, I think we're starting to go back to them, and I can't wait. What have you guys been doing to earn business without open houses?
What's great about being in the business now, like at this 6-7 year, wherever, is that you see all these people that you helped and worked so hard all the time for, and they start coming back. I've had clients that started out as a single person working at Epic and then bought a condo, then sold it, moved in with his girlfriend, had a baby, and then sold that one. And now, bought a big, beautiful house with the second baby. And, so it's nice to see those clients returning and moving up and making changes. And then also
giving
their
referrals.
friends and family.
Yeah. I
Absolutely.
think I echo that. I think a lot of it at this point is just past clients and referrals from those clients, because luckily we've been doing this just long enough where we're starting to see those people that we've helped, if not one, maybe 2, even 3 times. So yeah. And
then being also at a great brokerage, that shares leads that come in and things,
Yeah, I'm assuming your brokerage was like the rest of us. We were up, 170 units last year, even during that whole pandemic. So I'm assuming the other brokerages were the same. It was a great, great year for all real estate agents. I want to see that growing, right? What's the plan for the West Side office for the Lauer team? Is it focused that way, or just more people, need more space on the East Side?
I think there were a couple of thoughts behind it. There was definitely the ability to have just more visibility on that side of town, right? So rather than just having a brick and mortar shop on the East Side in that Atwood neighborhood, this gives us the ability to get the name and to kind of enter that Dudgeon, Monroe, Westmoreland, Vilas, that area, and at least have, a sign on a building. We get people that we just get people that walk in off the street that know the name, and they're like, hey, we're looking to sell or we're looking to buy. And then also it's just so helpful when you're running around and you need to swing by an office and you have an east and a west location, that when you're on that west side, you don't have to drive all the way over to the east side. So yeah, I think the thought, I don't own the office obviously, so I can't speak 100%, is to grow a little bit, but really a lot of it was just to kind of grow into what it already was. Like it was much needed, I think. So I think that's where it's at. So it's a great space. The whole inside was gutted and renovated. We split the space in 2. So Nightberry actually has the other half of the space. So we close a lot with Nightberry and work a lot with them. So they have the other half of the space, and they're doing all the closings there. So it's working out well.
I'll keep that in mind. I did not know there was a Nightberry space. All I know about that place is the dope mural on the backside.
Yeah.
Stop over sometime.
Yeah, you should stop in.
Are you guys? How often are you guys even there?
So we have somebody at the front desk
every
day, Monday through Friday, during business hours. So typically the door's unlocked. We're starting to come out of COVID, so doors are starting to be unlocked now and people can walk inside.
We had a meeting in the chamber about having maskless events, and You know, they're like, well, how do you do that? Do you their card? I'm like, I'm not being the COVID card police. Sorry. Like,
Right. Yeah. That's, yeah. No, nobody wants that job.
All right. So you guys have probably seen this. This is another little thing, and this is my last subject I want to talk about. As we talk about our relationship and how long we've had it, and how much I generally love running into people, especially like you guys when you're walking through showings or coming out closings. You're truly like, hey, how you doing, man? What's going on? And as new people get into this, because there's been a huge flood of agents in the past year jump into this space, what would be the piece of advice that you would give them? And as I start recruiting, I run into a lot of those agents, right? And it's funny, I hear them talking, I'm like, I wanted to say it. I can't say it this way, but I'm like, you got to wait like 2 years and kind of just figure out your flow, right? Figure out where you fit in this lane and then find the space. But what would you guys, two other experienced agents, tell a lot of new agents or anyone out there even having interest getting into the real estate space? What would you tell them?
I find real estate, I've always loved that being, a female and a minority, that there's no ceiling. I've worked in corporate America and all these other jobs where you have ceilings. It's based off of education and experience. And, and this is it's a great space to, if you really work really hard and give really good customer service all the time, and you're sharp and you stay on top of, market and trends and all of that. And really it's a people game. If you're good with people, you can manage all that. It's an awesome career to have, because really, like, the sky's the limit, So that being said, it is such a challenging, we went out last night, had a couple drinks, and it was like our Saturday, because, every weekend you work. Yeah. There's a lot of flexibility in this job, and there's a lot of, unflexibility too. Like, it's so, oh man, I don't know. It's a hard one.
Yeah. I would say
it's a perfect way to put it. And you led with talking about the Lauer Realty Group as a family, and you work hard, you play hard. It's the same thing here, right? I'm not saying other brokerages are good, bad, and different. I'm just saying you got to find the one. They're all good.
Right.
They're all good. You got to find the one that fits you the best. And you guys, Liz, Mark, who else?
So we have so many.
Brian Esser.
Yep.
I'll crank it. It's fun. Like, I love doing deals with our agents because it's always going to be fun. I don't care what we throw in there. Hey, we got a James Bond buried here. Yeah. All right, we'll figure it out. We'll work through it. What do you got? Just it's genuinely a joy to work with people like that, right? With that think that mindset like you guys do.
For sure. Yeah. I give a lot of props, honestly, to starting at Keller Williams, because it exposes you to so many agents, and that is really valuable to have those relationships, And then we found our tribe. And we also have the past, experience of being in another brokerage where, you develop these relationships because we all become friends, and
I'm going to do it with another Keller alumni right now. And it's like, it's great. That was the first step. Like, hey, how you doing? Yeah. That's why you pay an agent, right? For those relationships. And the agent, I've always said the one you should find is the agent who knows the most other agents. That's probably gonna be the guy to get you the best deal. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, we've all, behind the scenes have had conversations with other agents, or we've even said it to our clients, like, hey, I know this other agent that might give us a little bit of an advantage. You know what I mean? So it definitely pays to always put your best foot forward amongst our colleagues, because you don't want to be known as that person that other agents talk to their clients like, we probably shouldn't pick their offer because this agent is not very good. So it to your point, you've been saying, it pays to really build those relationships. Even though we're competing against each other, it's really about being good people to one another, because, it pays off in the end. It really does.
That excellent customer service is not just for clients. That's for your agents, your lenders, all the people that you work with behind the scenes after you get, the transaction started.
Yep. And we know the bad ones, all right. Like I said, that was the.
There are no bad ones. There's challenging ones.
Selling where you actually had to talk bad about the other product, right? You've spoken that. I love that we don't have to do that. No, my favorite thing is to say, "Oh, I love this agent. I've worked with her in the past, or I've worked with their kid in the past, or they're very fair, or they communicate phenomenally." Right? That that I think is empowering, very powerful for an agent to have. So. That's my 30 minutes, guys. Anything on the head, right? I told you be fast, right? Like it just when when you get together, people you haven't seen, right? It just flows, right? It's like family.
Yeah. Leno, I just want to tell you, I'm so proud of you. You've done so many different, things within the space since becoming an agent, and you're always such a go-getter and so positive and looking for the next, angle and pivoting. And I love it. It's been awesome to see you.
And to your last question you had, I think it's one thing that a lot of people need to realize when they get into the business is like we learned at Keller Williams with Bold, success is simple, not easy. And a lot of people fall in love with the idea of this being a fast money, quick, easy business, but they don't fall in love with the idea of actually doing the work and what it takes. And, we know that the attrition rate for realtors is so high. It's like within the first 2 years, it's like 75, 80% get out of the business because they just can't hang. So I just think it's awesome that the three of us can sit here and talk knowing that, we all kind of started 5-6 years ago and we're still here. So,
Well, and then all the stuff with life, right? Like, divorces and job changes and government, kids and duplexes, etc. All that stuff, right? That's why I really hate I don't have that picture because it screams it, right? That little multicultural picture of the five sitting there and everything we know that's going on around us. But we made it. You kept grinding and you kept.
What do I do with my hands?
I do love seeing multicultural agents join because I think there's a big space for that, and it's great to see that. It's it's great when people of color win the homes and buy the homes, and when you see agents of color, it's all great. So,
have you guys seen anything Sarah Alvarado is working on? Own it. I'll put the link in the comments below. Called Own It. It's a nonprofit. The whole idea is to design color.
Yeah, your noise sound is off.
Is there a lawnmower outside your window?
I think there is.
Yeah, that's what it is. Anyway, Own It. Have Park Bank as the financial sponsor and one school as the nonprofit entity. The whole idea of education standpoint, people in how to build wealth. One of the things are especially Black culture in this, right? Like by wheels. We were just talking about this because our broker owner here, local property, engine car. And instead of buying a new car, we do engines and build a house. I don't need money. Like, remember that, Colin? Remember that training we went to? He has 9 properties.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Getting in that mindset, like, don't buy cars. I think his sense was, I only buy things that create revenue.
Yeah, that build wealth, right?
I don't buy things that don't create revenue. And our culture has got to get down to that point where, even a 35-year-old 64 Impala or whatever it is, old car with 25-inch wheels that cost $3,000 is not a good investment. But you take that same $3,000 and buy a piece of land, put a little house on it, and watch it. Especially the appreciation we just talked about, right? The appreciation in 5 years, what a house could have netted you,
Well, yeah, and if I'm recalling, I think there was even a topic of like, why put money towards your student loans when you could just put that money towards an investment property, and then the money that investment property generates, use that to pay your student loans.
Yeah.
Right.
How are you guys doing for time? You got to get going. Are you good?
Yeah. I'm good.
So have you seen that?
Do I have a listing appointment soon?
Quick. I've seen that too. Investors of investment property market right now. Well, I've seen investors buying Viridians.
Really?
Parking their money there, making the numbers work, and then sitting on it, basically eating the appreciation. Crazy way to.
Seems a little riskier. But
all day long, it seems like a great idea, in my opinion. It's a lot more expensive. You need a lot more money, right?
You need a lot more money, yeah. And I mean, yeah, you're taking a bigger risk because with a new build, you're always, depending on how long you sit on it and what house you buy, you're always going to be competing against the next nicer, newer one that just came out. So it seems a little risky in a way. And also, I mean, at this point right now, they probably are going to make a killing.
It's all risky. It's risky business.
No houses have Viridians, you can't even get your hands on. Remember when Viridians were always just there? There's always 10 or 12 spec Viridians to get into.
Yeah.
Now it's a lottery. You can't.
Right.
we reduced our commission, and I get it, right? It's a business, right? But it's a lottery. You got to get in line. Hopefully, like I have my buyer use their financing. Forget your bank. Use their financing. Why? Because it gives you a little bit of a leg up, right? It's the only thing you got, because I can't argue it for you, right?
Yeah.
You a dime to a dollar. Before you know it, Viridian will come up with some process where they will take over asking offers or something like that to separate people who are willing to go a little more than their stage price.
Well, they've started to actually eliminate like how customized you can get with their product, right? Because they know
No more finished basements.
Yeah, they just know if we can just limit the number of options and limit things, it's like people are still going to go for it, and it's going to just take a lot of work off of our back. So that's the way I interpret it. I don't work for Viridian, but it just seems like they've very much streamlined a lot of their product to simplify it, and it's probably easier on them. You know what I mean?
Used to be able to pick floors, appliances, and window treatments. Now,
I believe appliances are no longer.
Nope, none of it's no longer. You get the house. Here it is. You can't change it. At least that's the spec side. Obviously, you build a custom when you can build a custom.
Right.
All right. The problem with us is we could literally talk all day. I want to thank you guys for your time. Alejandra, Torres, again, Colin, McMullen, the Lauer Realty team. Thank you so much for being on Manning the Grill.
Love you, Lane.
Take care.
Bye.
Let me get some love music going and take us out. You guys take care. Thanks for your time.
Bye, Lane.